Yes, absolutely. I was born and raised on a farm in Louisiana, Alex, and when you look at the industry of agriculture here in the U.S., I couldn't be happier to be in this industry. It's the best industry as far as I'm concerned on the face of the planet. But the people are great, and what we're doing long term is a good thing. But born and raised on a farm in Louisiana, I was a crop consultant that put me through college, and then I worked for a global company for 20 years, and then I did a 6-year stint in private equity, and then I was able to come over to New Farm as director of seed treatment here in the U.S. and really have enjoyed my journey here, because the nice thing about New Farm is that yes, we are foundational chemistries, but New Farm will invest in new technologies, as we'll talk about here in the interview a little bit later. So it's pretty exciting stuff over here with us. Well, it's a great question. You know, like I mentioned earlier, we have foundational chemistries, but the nice thing about New Farm in 2019, we launched a patented technology of Trinimco. And Trinimco brings a novel twist to nematode control in the U.S. It has 2 different modes of action, but then also it gives a second punch to nematode control by MBI 600, colonize the root system. So it's a lot different than what's normally has been out on the market today. First of all, when you think about the most expensive pass through the field for a grower or producer here in the U.S. is when they plant. And no one would ever go out there and get a plan to build a house without pouring footings or proper foundation. So to me, seed treatments are so important, and there's sound science behind it as well. It gives that plant an opportunity to get a good root system. It gives that opportunity to fend off against early soil and seed-borne pests, and also piercing-sucking insects. So I think it's very crucial to give that plant every opportunity it can to get going in this early young life that's starting out. Well, that's a great question. When you look at what we're doing here at New Farm, if you look at what we've launched, I'm starting off with Trinimco in 2019. That's just the beginning. It's the next thing to add and bolt on to Trinimco. Well, I think the big hot topic is obviously not only soybean cyst nematode, but it also rolls into SDS. And I think the industry is very hungry for other forms of controlling SDS. So what we're looking at is different forms of controlling that fusarium in the soil for season-long control with SDS to bolt on to Trinimco. Secondly, when you look at what we launched in 2021, we have a product called Precinct. It's really novel from a metalaxyl M perspective, because Precinct is a 4.1 pound metalaxyl M. It starts off as a liquid, ends as a liquid. We all understand the baggage that the old metalaxyl brings to the table from a crystallization standpoint. So, and what also being a 4.1 pound product's got a neutral pH, which is very seed safe. And secondly, you can use around a 50% less use rate for the same efficacy, which frees up opportunity to stack multiple modes of action on your seeds and crops to control Pythium, to control rhizoc, to control fusarium, other things, and also put biologicals and rhizobium bacteria and nutritionals on there, which we know distribution adds to the table to really give that seed that yield a bomb. Well, most seed treatments are not designed to last season long, first of all, and that's maybe a misconception some people have. But what it does is, for instance, Pythium. If you do not use a seed treatment to control Pythium, there's no foliar spray in season that controls that. So, and then like SDS, that's a different story. If you control that fusarium in the soil, then you will get the lasting control, not have that sudden death syndrome later on in the season. So anytime you can use a seed treatment, it's a positive thing, because what it does early season to control those early season diseases that you can't control with a foliar spray. Yeah, I kind of mentioned that earlier with the SDS control. I think that the industry and our customers are really hungry for other options versus being pigeonholed into 1 or 2 segments that they can only use. That's one thing. Then you mentioned the microbial and that aspect of this thing. We've got a lot of suppliers we work with where they've identified different microbes that might generate lateral root growth, taproot growth, set blooms. So that is super exciting. When you think about when you go to the doctor and they give you a prescription for high blood pressure, and they give you a specific pill to help control that. Well, I think this thing in the future, you'll be able to prescribe, okay, this is what I need in this field, and you can almost go field by field and really give that seed treatment a prescription field by field to help really push the yields of where we need to go.